Hey everyone, welcome to your channel Oracle Buddy. Wish you a happy new year to you and your family. Today we will take a look at items in MFCS. Let's begin. So today we will discuss about items, conclusion and reference. In the topic items, we will discuss about following subtopics like introduction, item types, item hierarchy, item number types, item attributes, item lifecycle, UDA, and item list. Let's begin with introduction to items. The item maintenance process, along with the foundation data, makes up the core of MFCS. Items must be created in the system before the retailer can order, receive, or sell any good. Merchandising is usually the master of all items for a retail organization. It manages the creation and maintenance of items as well as the communication of these items to other department solutions. The item hierarchy can support up to three levels, with one level being designated at the level at which the transaction and inventory occur. For example, a fashion item may use all three levels to represent style, SKU, and barcode, wherever a grocery item may use only one to represent the SKU and one to represent the barcode. In addition, ownership type of an item can also be specified as own, consignment, or concession based on the terms with the supplier at the location level. We will discuss about the different type of items in our upcoming slides. Merchandising also supports the creation of multiple type of items which are described below. So here we will discuss about the different types of items in MFCS. Let's begin with a regular item. This is the most common type of item as it can be used to represent sellable and orderable items across verticals. For soft lines, regular items are associated with differentiators to represent the colors and sizes that styles are available in. Differentiator can be associated with the items in the other verticals as well as to represent other item characteristics such as flavor or scent. So whenever you visit any retail departmental store or online store like Amazon or Flipkart or Mantra, so you can see there are different items. Single items are there. Suppose a polo, US polo t-shirt is there. So that is a regular item and it will have different multiple colors and sizes. So those are the differentiator. So the US polo shirt will be the style and under that there will be different SKUs which are can be sellable like a US polo white shirt which is small in size, a US polo white shirt which is medium in size based on the size. It can be small, medium, extra large, double XL, triple XL. And based on the color also you can have black, blue, white. So these are all the differentiators which differentiate the particular style into the SKUs. Next is pack items. A pack is a way of tracking multiple component items under one item number. Merchandise supports two type of packs. One is simple and one is complex. Let's discuss about simple pack. A simple pack contains multiples of one component item. Simple packs are always orderable and may also be created as sellable. So here we can see it in a picture. There is an example of a pack item which is a pack of 4 cola. So if you see the 4 colas are packed combinedly as a pack item. So it can be ordered as a pack of 4 colas under one SKU. If a retailer wants to sell those to break the uh, case of the pack item, they can also do if the sellable indicator is there on. And suppose a retailer wants to order it as a shipper USC like 12 case of a unit, if you see here, and they want to sell it as one, they can also do that. Let's discuss about complex packs now. A complex pack can contain many different component items. Complex packs can be sellable, orderable, or both. Example is You can see here in the picture, there is a cola and a Sprite. So it's a pack of different component items, but it is binded together as a complex pack. Sellable indicator. Items can be sold and is sent to the POS, used to sell multiple items with a single code. Next, we'll discuss about pack unit retail. So sum of component unit retails and quantity of each component will give us the pack unit retail. It can be changed by the users. Pack item unit retail is not updated when a component retail changes. Suppose we have a pack of a cola and a Sprite, which is around $10. If Coca-Cola and Sprite's unit retail is changed, it will not affect the pack component retail. Orderable indicator used to order several items with one single code on the purchase order. Next, we will discuss about a buyer pack. It facilitates the buyer ordering process. The pack is exploded into in components when the PO is sent to the supplier, receiving either by a pack or it's by component. So pack cost will be sum of component items multiplied by quantity within the pack. There is another type of pack which is called vendor pack. Item code recognized by the supplier, receiving only by pack. Pack cost will be sum of component cost into quantity within the pack. Pack cost can be changed by the users. Next type of item is a deposit item. A deposit item is an item that has a proportion which is returnable by the customer after it has been sold to the customer. A deposit is taken from the customer for the returnable portion. In merchandising, deposit items are tracked under multiple components, item representing the container, the contents, the returned item, and optionally a crate item. Usually a pack items is created to manage the combination of product together through the supply chain. So what is a deposit item basically is, suppose in a SKU there is something for which the retailer is charging to you. For suppose you are buying a bottle of cola and you want to take it to home. So if you so the Coke will be the deposit content item, and the container, the bottle, for which they will charge you a minimal price for the bottle also. So you can take the bottle also, giving the minimal price for it, and then once you return the bottle, the retailer will refund you the price of the bottle. A deposit item is broken into the components of item and each one is tracked separately in RMS. So first one is deposit content item, the item that is sold to the customer. So example is the beer. Deposit container item, the item returned by the customer after consuming the content, example beer bottle. Deposit crate item, the item which holds the container and content items, example crate of 24 beer bottles. And deposit return items, generic returnable deposit item to be used when the deposit item does not have its original identification, example bottle without the label. So in the below picture, you can easily see this is a complete deposit items and these are the components, four components of the deposit items. So here it is the content, is the container, this is the crate, and this is the deposit return item without the label. Deposit items can be maintained as a complex pack or a single item. Example, a complex pack with 24 deposit content, deposit container item and one deposit crate. Maintaining the deposit item as a complex pack ensure the appropriate components are grouped together and facilitates ordering. Maintaining the deposit items individually, it must associate the item with an appropriate container item. Next is let's discuss about consignment items. So this type of fragmentation for items is based on how the items are being sold. So let's first discuss about consignment item and concession items. So basically consignment is an arrangement in which goods are left with a third party to sell. So basically the supplier will leave their items, merchandise with a third party like a retailer, and the retailer also they doesn't own the stock, only the supplier leave it to the retailers for selling it. So the party that sells the good on consignment receives a portion of the profit either as a flat rate fee or commission. Selling via a consignment arrangement can be a low commission, low time investment way of selling items or services. So basically, like very slow selling items or expensive items, or which is like very, they see a very less sale over the year. So the supplier, what we will do, like the retailer also is not comfortable to buy the expensive goods and store them and be responsible to get it sold. So the supplier, what it does, they want to sell the expensive items, so they just send it to the retailer, and the retailer keeps it without owning it, and then once the item is sold they get a commission for that. So let's discuss the consignment item in detail now. The consignment item is a marketing arrangement where physical control of merchandise is transferred from the consigner, the supplier, to the consignee, the retailer. The owner of the good remain with the consigner, which is supplier, until the goods are sold. Upon sale of the goods, the consigner bills the consignee via an invoice. It must exist department of consignment type. A consignment rate will be associated to a consignment item by supplier. So next type of item is a concession item. In retail concession, the brand operates like a tenant. They rent a specific space and pay the department store a percent of their sales for the floor space. So here what is happening is in concession. So uh, the retailer doesn't own the inventory. So what's happening is it's basically a renting a floor space. So the supplier will rent a floor space and put its items there. So once the item is being sold, so they give a agreed whatever, like they have agreed percentage of the sale or basically the rent for the floor space to the retailer. So let's discuss more about concession item here. A concession item is recorded. A consignment item in the retailer does not owns the inventory being sold. Concession item differ from consignment in that the ownership is not transferred when the items are sold. The retailer rents floor space to a supplier on which the supplier sells their goods. Concession sales are recorded and the retailer then bills the supplier using their chosen method. So let's discuss about the difference between the consignment and concession item here. So the primary difference between the consignment and concession item is generally how you invoice your supplier. For consignment items, purchase order and invoices are generated for sales and return to vendor transaction, and debit memos are generated for returns. However, for the concession items, the sale data is instead staged for direct billing via AR, which is accounts receivable. PO, RTVs, invoices, and debit memos are not generated for concession items. So here it's a difference between the consignment and concession. Purchase order for consignment, it is created for sold items. For concession, it is not created for sold items, because for concession, it is just renting the floor space. Invoice document generated for sold items for consignment. For concession, it is not generated. Stock ledger, POs, as the POs are getting created, so POs are recorded in the stock ledger. No stock ledger impact because we are not generating any PO or invoice. Temporary rate change. Consignment rate can be changed temporarily using a promotion. Concession rate cannot be changed temporarily. Account receivable and payables, AR and AP. No account receivables and payable accounts are recorded because it is going through the stock ledger. Here we are paying it through the account receivable and payable records are recorded in the item supplier calendar period. Other notes, the following item types in merchandising cannot be designated as concession or concession transferable, deposit and pack, simple and pack or cash weight items. The owner model for a particular item must be the same for all virtual warehouse in a particular physical warehouse. The ownership model of all child items are under single parents must be the same. So you must have seen for like if you see the department table, so there will be a department type, so it is usually, if you see in the data model, it will be 0, 1, and 2. So G0 is for the normal items, 1 and 2 are for the consignment and concession items. So all the items under those departments will let you know that whether it belongs to a consignment item, concession items, or it's a regular department. Next is transformable items. A transformable item is an item that can be ordered as one item and then transformed into multiple cell level components. For example, a cheese wheel may be purchased from the supplier but cut into smaller pieces to be sold to customer. There are two types of transformable items that can be created. One is orderable component and sellable component. Items that can be ordered as one item and broken into smaller items. The smaller items are resold in the store. So basically there are two types, transform orderable. The item is ordered from the supplier in one form but changed by the retail and sold to the customer in a different form. The item doesn't have a retail by zone defined. Orderable item should have at least one sellable item and should have defined the following parameters like production loss percentages of orderable items which is wasted in producing the sellable items, and yield percentage of the order item used to create the sellable item. Suppose we have a like a meat shop. So there what they are doing is they are selling a chicken or a ham or beef, anything. So they buy the whole complete animal and then they break down it into a pieces like it's a chops or a steak or a rib or a pigtail, tailbone or anything or a head. So different items are sold in a different retail price. So once you must have visited any store where to buy a meat or protein. Also, there you have seen that the different pieces of the part of an animal have a different price. So those are the transformable items. So they get a full a pig from the suppliers and then they divide it into different components and the each component will have different retail. So when you break down a complete animal, so it may have a loss also, right? Because there will have different parts which cannot be consumed. So those will come in the production loss. And how much yield is coming from this pork, lamb or chicken? So that is comes under the yield percentage. So transformable sellable, the items that is sold to the customer. A transformable sellable items is ordered from the supplier in a different form, then it is sold. The item doesn't have a supplier associated. Next, let's talk about the item hierarchy. So RMS item creation allow you to create simple items like one or two levels or more complex item like three levels. We can use the differentiators, diff set the item maintenance. A diff is a characteristics to make items distinct from one to another. Used to speed up the multiple group items creation based on the characteristics like size, color, flavor, aroma, pattern or other. Let's go through an example here. We have a yogurt which is having an item number which is available in different flavors, strawberry, blueberry, peach, etc. So the yogurt is the style and under that there will be different SKUs based on the differentiator as per the flavors here. So this is the overall picture of item hierarchy. So level 1, which we discussed before, is the yogurt light with 127 to 89 for an example. And the level 2, it will have different flavors based on the differentiator. It is strawberry, blueberry, peach. Each level 2 will be assigned to a barcode, which can be a EN13 type barcode, and based on this it is differentiated. So these are the levels. Item level 1, item group is a product without differentiator. Item level 1 group is a product without barcodes. Then item level 2, product without differentiator, is a product without barcode. So item level 2 here, and this item level 3 is the product with barcode. So once you scan the barcode, you will get the information of the item level 2 and 1. So more thing to discuss on item level. It's a flexible multi-level item structure that allow you to set up one or two level 3 of items. So item level 1 is called line item. Item, where is the item level 2 levels are there. One is called item parent and item child. And three levels, there are item grandparent, item parent, and item child. So the naming convention is like level 1 is called line, level 2 is called extension, and level 3 is called variant. Level 2 requires a parent level 1, level 3 requires parent level 2 and grandparent level 1. Transaction level indicates the item level at which the stock movements are performed, such inventory maintenance, transfer, shipping, sales, return, etc. It can be defined at any level. Defined at item creation time cannot be changed later. So you can go through this one and try to understand. Like suppose you are selling a Samsung 29-inch television, so it can be just an item level 1. If you are selling a Coca-Cola and with a barcode, you can put a barcode, which will be item level 2. If you are selling a T-shirt, so it is like style, item, and the barcode. So this is the item level and this is transaction level. So the transaction happen here for this Samsung television. The transaction happens with here the item level 1 for the cola, and for the style here the transaction level is the item level 2, which is the white small and white medium. So main functionality allowed in these levels, you can see this tab table. So the supplier cost, average cost, deals happens, transfer and all everything. You can have the detail here. Item group. An item group is an item hierarchy in which an item is broken into three levels. The entire set of items 1 to 3 is an item group. After the item structure definition, it is required to add a supplier to the item, determine item cost, and assign the item to a location. Next topic is differentiator in RMS. Types are like organized by color, size, flavor, scent. Maximum diff types allowed in RMS is 30. IDs, the primary component of the differentiator, diff type equals to like flavor, diff IDs will be strawberry, blueberry, etc. Groups, diff groups, a way of logically grouping diff IDs attached to level 1 item to create level 2 items. A group is connected to a type and only the type IDs may be part of the group. Like suppose if you want to group the differentiators like neutral colors or the dark colors, so you can group them the differentiator into diff groups. Diff range, it is used to aggregate IDs from different groups, creating combination between them. Suppose if you want to like a group is a neutral color plus small size, so result will be white extra small, white small, black extra small, black smalls. Primarily used in ordering process, a color diff group might have 20 colors, but out of them 4 are bought more frequents. So a diff range of those 4 colors could be attached to a diff group and the range is used during the ordering. Let's talk about item attributes. So basic item attributes are item types, whether it's a regular pack, fashion, etc. Association to the merchandise hierarchy, department, class, subclass. Item number types can be UPC, EN, RIN, etc. So it will have a description, primary description, short description, secondary optional description, cost zone group, transaction level, retail by zone, VAT rates, and UM or unit of measure. So it's a standard UM, selling UM, or cost UM. Let's talk about item supplier attributes. Used to add, view, or edit suppliers for an item. An item require a primary supplier for in its original country. So the item and supplier. So an item can have multiple suppliers, but only one supplier will be the primary and rest will be the secondary suppliers for it. Supplier relationship can be at item, supplier, country, location level. Cost of an item, supplier, country, location level for the instance where the unit and case cost can vary by a location. It can be ordered in multiples like inner case and pallet. Dimensions can be length, width, and height. And ordering information will like lead time, pickup time, minimum quantity, max quantity, default unit of purchase, rounding threshold. All this can be set up in the item supplier attributes. Item location attributes used to create, view, or edit location information for item status. So basically, once the item is created, what we need to do? We need to do a supplier ranging so that the supplier can send us the goods. And then we should have a item location ranging also, like those items where it will be sold, in which stores it will be sold. So those in mapping we need to do it. For any transfers, before initiating any transfers or orders, we should have a location ranging as well. Item should be ranged to the warehouse and location both, so that during the ordering, suppose it is ordered at warehouse level, so it should have a mapping before that. Otherwise, the orders and transfer cannot be processed in MFCs. So there are different type of status. So suppose an item location mapping, it can be checked in the item location table. So you can see there the status will be there. There are different status like the status A as an active, status C as an discontinued, status I as an inactive, and status D as deleted. So for the active items, you can order it and sell it both. For discontinued items, you cannot order it anymore from the supplier, but you can sell the discontinued item till you have the stock. Inactive items, it cannot be ordered or it cannot be sold, and deleted ones will you cannot order and sell as well. So ranging process is association of items to store and warehouses. Which items can be purchased from which warehouse stores? Which items can be ordered, sold, returned at which stores? So we have few other things like item list, location list, and schedule item maintenance, which we will see in the upcoming videos. Stock buckets by location. If you go with check the item log SOH and all those, you will have these details like on hand, total stock available at the location, on order, total stock on order to the supplier, reserved, stock reserved for transfers not yet shipped, expected, stock expected from the transfer not yet shipped, in transit, stock not yet received at the location but already shipped from the original location, unavailable, stock on hand unavailable at the location. Unavailable can be due to many reasons, and stock can be put it in unavailable bucket if suppose some defect is there or it is not in the correct packaging, correct price, so it can be put it in unavailable. RTV, return to vendor, stock to be returned to the vendor but not yet shipped. Note, to see these values, select information from MFCS tables, item log SOH, in stock on hand, in transit, transfer received quantity, transfer expected quantity, RTV, non-sellable columns. Odd head and odd log to calculate stock on order using status A, quantity order minus quantity received. So let's discuss about next is item life cycle. So there are various status in the item life cycle workflow. So first of all, the item is created in MFCS, so it will be in worksheet status. Then when you hit the submit button, If it is in with error, it will again come it back in worksheet status. If it is submitted, then the status will change it to submitted status. Then once you approve it, it comes to approved status. And if it has errors, then you again it will go to submitted status. And if you want to delete any item, so the status will go deleted, and then the batch, which is daily purge, which will delete the item from the deleted item. So once you mark any item as deleted, so it will go to the daily purge table, and from there the daily purge batch will pick that record and delete it. If during the deletion of an item, suppose any of the item in the location has a stock, or it is on the stock count, or any ongoing transfer is there and items cannot be deleted, you can see the error in daily purge errors table. So here we have discussed about the various status during the life cycle. Like first one is worksheet, represent the stage where the items is being created but still does not have all the required information for approval. For example, supplier and detail by zone information are required to submit the item. In the worksheet status, any detail can be edited. Next is the submitted status. All the information mandatory for the items have been defined and the item has been submitted for approval. The person responsible for approving will verify the correctness of the data and decide whether to approve the item or not. Error during the submit process can be represented and explained in a form. The item have been validated but not yet available for sale and may be returned to worksheet status. Error during the submit process can be presented and explained in a form. Next is approved. The item's data has been verified and approved. Only now the item can now be used in other process with the system like ordering, selling. Item has met all the requirements and system checks and become live item. Can be ordered, sold or have inventory. Next is delete pending. Items that are in status where the user requested to delete the item, the system will perform a series of validation to decide if it can be deleted or not. If it is not in use in the other areas or MFCS, it will be removed from by the batch program. The item is marked for deletion and is not in the use other areas in RMS, it will be removed by the batch program. Next, we will discuss about the item location life cycle. So just like item life cycle, when the item location ranging also, so it has a cycle. So once you, so there are different type of item location status like approved, discontinued, inactive, and deleted. So when the item location is active, item is valid and can be ordered and sold. Discontinued, item is valid and sellable but no longer orderable. Inactive, item is valid but item can be ordered or sold. Deleted, item is invalid and cannot be ordered or sold. Next is UDA, which is user defined attributes. So what is UDA? So there are different attributes, which is the base Oracle attributes, but here all Oracle has given us attribute which is user defined, which is like customized defined attributes, which we can define and use it for various reporting purpose. For example, like there is a upcoming event for us coming, like suppose a New Year or a Christmas or a Marvel movie is going to be released in 2025. So what we will do is we will create a user defined attributes like suppose a selling date is there or any particular UDA we will create in the whether it is a date UDA like selling date when it is going to be live, or if you want to create a UDA like you to track, like suppose there are like a lot of items in a particular department, but I want to check only the Marvel movie related all the items which are being sold. So what we can do is we can create a UDA like a Marvel. And then we can associate with the items all the merchandise which is for those Marvel movies related, which we are going to sell in the future. So once we have the attached UDA with the items, so anyway in the reporting, if we want to extract all the items which are mapped to the particular Marvel UDA, so we can get a report. So let's talk about more about the UDA. So it provides a way to create attributes and associate with the items. Define specific item attributes like brand, handling instruction, raw materials, country of origin, etc. UDA are useful for the information and reporting purpose. Facilitator for massive operation across RMS. It is possible to associate UDAs to an item, department, class, subclass. UDA types are like three types of UDA types. One is list of values or LOV. The example is like UDA is raw materials, values will be wool, silk, cotton. A free text of UDA like a handling instruction or a date, like whether it is ready to ship or ready to sell, those type of dates we can put. Or if you want to like mark out of stock, you can create an UDA date, like on this particular date it will be marked out of stock. Next is item list. It allows grouping of items that are identified by only one number, can be used to make mass changes in several processes such as stock count, price, and cost change. Location ranging, replenishment attributes, and purchase order can be created using specified items added one by one, or items selected based on the criteria defined like merchandise hierarchy, suppliers like department, class, subclass. Two types of item list based on how they are built. One is static type and another is dynamic type. In static, item list can be updated but not rebuilt. New items created on the system will not be part of the item list even if they meet the criteria. Another one is dynamic. Item list can be updated and rebuilt anytime and many number of times. So user security indicators, queue list underscore head table user security indicator when checked allows only the owner users of the list to modify it and rebuild it. Other users can only view and use it. If it is set to N, then anyone can go and update this queue list if they want to add or delete or modify anything in the queue list. So usually like whenever you like we can create, whether if we need a item list which can be, there is a chances that it can be modified, so we usually take a dynamic type of item list. In this question, like important interview questionnaires which we will discuss. So usually in interviews the interviewer asks to know about the items, if so what type of various types of items in MFCS. So you can go through the uh, complete video to discuss, like where we have discussed various types of items like regular item, pack items, deposit items, transformable items, concession item, consignment items. So you need to explain those item types if it is asked. So second type of question, what they can ask is what is the pack item and how to identify pack items. So the what are the pack items? Like you have to explain about the what does the pack item mean? Means a group of regular items, and you have to explain the simple items, simple pack and complex pack, and how to identify pack items in merchandise tables. Like we have in item master, if you go and there will be a indicator called pack item, if it is yes or no based on that. Another thing is that in there is a separate pack item table where you can go and get the details of all pack items. Next is the difference between consignment and concession. So this one also we have described very elaborate, and this is the one of the favorite question of the interviewers for asking about what does it mean of consignment and concession items, and sometimes they ask about the life cycle of this consignment and concession. So there we have to explain like consignment is an arrangement where goods are left with the third party. So and in the concession the retailer concession, the brand only takes the floor space, and we have to explain like where how it is. Like in the consignment, we create POs, and concession we don't create POs. It is done directly inserted into the account receivable and account payable tables, and from there it is managed in consignment. The POs are created and invoice is created, and it goes to general ledger, and that is how it is accounted. So you have to explain all those differences between the consignment and concession. What is a deposit item? This is also explained in the video where we have elaborately explained what is deposit items. So there you have to define what is deposit items and what are the parts and components of the deposit items like container, content, all those four types of components of the deposit items you have to explain. Next question is, and if an item is marked as deleted, how can we recover it? So suppose an item is not needed anymore, and the user has asked to delete it, and then later moment of time the user thinks that okay, now this items I don't want to delete it. So once you mark an item for deleted, it will go in the daily purge table where the type will be item and the item number will be there. So it will be picked once, suppose if you mark it for deletion today, so in the tonight batch it will be picked and will be deleted. So once it is deleted, we cannot recover that item. But before the item is deleted by the batch, so if you go directly and delete it from the database, for MFCS it is not possible as we don't have access to the SAS. So we need to create a CVRT1 SR with Oracle to delete it. But if you are on-premise, you can directly go and delete it from the daily purge table, and then it will not be deleted. So then you can change the status again to worksheet and then improve it. For the before the, it is not meant like suppose it is in daily purge table, the batch will purge it. There are many criterias before it to check before it get purged, like if you have a stock on hand in any of the location, or whether you have a ongoing stock count for that item, or any open POs or transfers are there. So there are many criteria based on that. If after, suppose if you want to delete an item and if you see the item is not deleted even after the batch is completed, so you need to go to daily purge error table and check like for what reason it is not been deleted. Conclusion: items are the stock of keeping unit of MFCS and needed before performing any sort of transaction. Acknowledgement: we refer below documentation and blocks to complete our this session, and please refer to these below documents also. So if in case you want more information. Thank you everyone. If you enjoy my content, I invite you to subscribe to our channel Oracle Buddy. Please hit the subscribe button and become a part of the family. Your support means the world to me. Thank you again for joining. Have a nice day.